Hi there, and welcome to the first audio-only version of the Make Art Don't Starve podcast. I'm your host, Kelsey.
I'm your other host, Al, and this episode has been a mess.
It's been a disaster, actually.
It really has.
We tried to record. For those of you that don't know, I recently moved all the way across the country, got a new computer, got a new camera, and that means that every aspect of my podcast recording setup has changed. And that has bred a whole host of troubleshooting problems. Literally, even trying to revert back to the previous setup that I was recording with no longer works for some reason. So we're contacting Riverside Support, which is the software that we use to record these episodes, to see if they have anything to say about that problem. But it's been a problem for sure. So
moral of the story is Kelsey's computer / camera hates her. And then we started this episode before we got, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes in. And a storm came on my end and the power went out. And so
it was actually like really funny.
It was really funny.
We were thinking about like re-recording again, like finishing it up and then having like the thunderstorm noise be like the cut transition. And that would have been really cute. But unfortunately, my cameras continue to hate me. So in the meantime, here's an audio-only episode to tide you over. And in this episode, we're basically going to be talking about kind of like whatever. We had a vague idea of talking about what it's like when videos on YouTube don't do well, and when you put your whole heart and soul into it, that can really suck. And that was something that has happened to both of us recently, and is something that we're kind of continually dealing with, because it can be really weird to want YouTube to be your job, but then like sometimes you get all of this information and this data from YouTube Creator Studio, your analytics, telling you that you are being a bad YouTuber, that you are being bad at your job. And that's hard, especially because we're artists and what we make is so tied to who we are as people, our creativity, our creative practice, like our goals in life. And that can be really hurtful, I guess, sometimes, like difficult to reckon with, because sometimes your audience wants something really different than what you're interested in making for them.
Especially because like it's our faces on our YouTube channel. Sometimes it can feel like, I don't like you. Like when the video flops, it's like, because everything is so tied to you as a person. It can feel very much like it's not just that you're not good at your job or that you didn't perform well. It's also that like, hey, you personally suck and no one likes you and no one wants to hear what you have to say or see what you do. And you try so hard to be like, oh, the numbers don't matter. But for so many reasons, they do.
They do.
They do. Yeah. Like, obviously, like
if you want to make rent, like if YouTube is your job, it matters.
Exactly. And like, you don't have to let it mentally affect you, but that's really hard when those numbers are so intertwined with like your ability to support yourself. that can really suck.
100%. Especially if you spend months on a video and you really try and make it perfect and you don't make a return on that investment. Like, maybe you paint 100 landscape oil paintings and make a video about that journey. That video doesn't do well. Have you wasted those 100 paintings? Like, no, but also in a sense, like, if the video doesn't do well, you're not going to sell out that collection. So it can kind of, it can make a difference. And also it's just kind of hurtful. Not like YouTube is like, you know, causing me great personal harm or something, but like, oh, like the thing that I made wasn't watched by people. That sucks.
And the worst part is they tell you. So like if you're not if you don't have a YouTube channel, you don't have the YouTube Creator app or the program on your computer, basically they rank it out of your previous 10 videos. And it'll say 1 out of 10 if it's the best performing, or 10 out of 10 if it's the worst performing. And when you get 1 out of 10, you get this little confetti. And it's like, wow, like great job. This video is performing so well. My last video, which was I think my wall tour. It was 10 out of 10. And I did not intend on this video being like a main video. Just a few people had wanted to see it. So I was like, okay, I'll just make it for fun. It was a bonus video. But so I didn't care about the performance. But when I saw 10 out of 10 and it was like, fewer people are clicking on this video, maybe you should rework it. I was like, hey man, you didn't need to say all that. You didn't like, that hurts my feelings a little bit, you know? The fact that they like just straight up tell you. And especially when you get that like little mini rush of it being 1 out of 10. And like you see little confetti and they're praising you so much and the numbers are doing so well. And then to split that around the next week and get a 10 out of 10 or like even like a 6 out of 10, that can really make you upset, which is silly, but it does, because it's like, hey, I did work really hard on this. It's something that I'm really proud of. It's part of me, or it's part of my art. And again, like the whole idea of wasting art, like sometimes they'll do a painting and they'll be like, if this video doesn't perform well and no one sees that I tried really hard on this painting, I'm gonna scream, because then what's the point?
Yeah. So, okay. I've been thinking about something that I wanted your advice on, actually. We talked about this a little bit before, but I wanted to like have the conversation on the podcast. So, okay, there's kind of like two strategies that you can go with regards to like content on YouTube, right? You can have like content that is designed to do well and bring new people to your audience, and content that is designed to kind of like cultivate a relationship and like not perform as well, and kind of like there's that whole spectrum, right? That all can live on one channel, but you could also post less often, but only post the videos you're confident will be the kind of videos that will do a 1 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10. I think both are totally valid, but I almost think the 1 out of 10 exclusive video posting strategy is more effective for brand deals and might actually be like better overall. I'm not confident about this, so feel free to disagree, but it almost feels like that could be better because you have to post less, but you can really try and make it the best thing possible. But I also wonder if trying really hard to make it absolutely perfect and only post videos that are absolutely perfect will have long-term damage on like your productivity and your willingness to make content like at all.
Right. I agree. I think they're both valid options. I think they're both great. Like if I were stuck between these two options, I feel like only posting content that you know will perform really, really well is less authentic. Like it might do well for your YouTube channel, and like you might make a lot of money off of YouTube and that might do really well. But for creating a well-rounded career where you connect with people and people are invested in like you as a person, as an artist, like I feel like it's not as good for that. I could make a full channel of just sketchbook tours, and that like would do really well, and like that channel would probably like grow really quickly. Because that's all people like generally want to see from me, like unless they're like a more dedicated viewer. So like I think that could do really well. But then I would slowly start to like resent my sketchbooks, because I would feel like especially if I had two channels where I kind of posted like less, I don't know, serious, like more relaxed stuff, I would start to feel a little bad about myself if my worth was so obviously tied to sketchbook tours, like publicly, like people saw that people only cared about sketchbook tours. I would feel bad about myself. And then also it would start to feel like I'm making sketchbook tours just to get subscribers, just to make money. And I feel like that's not that that's what anyone is doing, but for me, like that's how I would feel if that were the way I approached it. So I don't think that, like, I would never go with that option, but I think it's a really smart option for someone who is trying to like establish a really good YouTube career. Like I think that is the way to make it like a solid YouTube career that makes you a lot of money and it like makes you successful. And I agree. I think it would be better for brand deals because you don't have videos that flop to bring down your average view count, and you can ask for more money.
Yeah, and that's a really compelling pitch. Yeah. So I've been trying to find like the medium in between these two things. And so I recently started a vlog channel. There are currently no videos on this channel, but I've plugged it in a community post and at the end of a video, and it already has about 500 subscribers on it. No videos yet. I've been thinking about what does my audience want for me on my current main channel. Predominantly, that's like projects that I'm super passionate about. Sometimes I make a video and I phone it in. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like giving it my all. I'm just like making a video to make a video for that week. And I genuinely believe that if I made more stuff that I was just really passionate about, or like stuff that I was confident that were going to do really well, because for me, what tends to happen is that excluding studio vlogs, which never perform well on my current channel, the videos that I take a lot of time to make, a lot of time to produce, that are more like value driven but are like really effortful, that like you can really see the passion in them, I'm not making like a random tutorial or something, those videos tend to do extremely well. That's what's been driving my entire growth. And so I'm kind of curious, like what if I just started to post exclusively those kind of videos, but like less often, like once or twice a month max, and then on my vlog channel I could be more experimental, because I really do want to make like more cinematic stuff, but that just doesn't perform well on my current channel. And I think maybe those two strategies could be interesting to explore. I don't want to fall into the very common trap of like starting a vlog channel and then hating my main channel. I don't know if that's the kind of trap that I'm prone to falling into. I think I know myself enough that I might not fall into that trap, but it's a difficult one. And I feel like there are a lot of creators out there that they get popular based on a certain type of thing. You might try something new and that does really well, and that becomes like your new thing. But it's also really tempting to just continue to replay the greatest hits.
Yeah, for sure. I think, well, first of all, I think that strategy would work well for you specifically. Like, I don't know if I would ever I would never pitch that to just the average person wanting to start YouTube. But I think for you, that could work really, really well because you have a few solid videos that continuously get a lot of views. And so you have that foundation of, you have a regular daily amount of views. It's not like for me, my analytics kind of have a weekly spike where I post a new video. So my AdSense is really jagged. Whereas I'm assuming yours is probably a bit more steady because you have a handful of videos that continue to get views. So I think that would work for you because you would have this channel, even if you left it for a few weeks, would still be performing really well. And then you could dedicate that time and energy to your vlog channel, your side channel, your studio channel.
Yeah. What was crazy was
that main channel wouldn't be affected.
Yeah. What was crazy was that when I was moving, I didn't post on my channel for 3-4 weeks. I got more views and made more money than that same amount of time previously when I had been posting, which was crazy. So I think there's a lot of power to evergreen content. I would suggest that everybody makes a couple videos a month, maybe half or a third of your videos every month or something are evergreen because it makes a huge difference. It really, really does.
Yeah.
If I hadn't done that, I would not be able to go full time right now. But it's building that huge backlog of content makes such a huge difference.
And then what you were talking about, hating your channel. I agree. I don't know that you would do that. I think you could probably, because you are a very dedicated person. You're good at planning and doing what you say you're going to do. So I think I totally understand the fear because I know that would be me.
Right. Yeah.
I think
you look at so many other YouTubers, they have this, there's a whole pipeline of a main channel to vlog channel or side channel or whatever. And they abandon the original thing and they merge the two together and lose a bunch of their audience. And I don't want that to happen, but it's a notable phenomenon.
I think the thing for you is that you are passionate about the things that you do on your main channel. You're not just doing it because it's popular. You still are passionate about those topics. And I think it would be better for you mentally too, to not feel the pressure to make those videos that will do really well every week and instead do it when you have the thought, when you're not making because YouTube wants us to make the same exact video every week. Instead of feeling that pressure to make the same video every week, you could make the videos that you're passionate about on that main channel. People still want to see from you, but you are knowledgeable about those things and you are passionate. So you could do that and have the energy. You know what I mean? I think you're good. I think you'd be safe, but I totally understand the fear.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is that for me, at least, I have this really big problem where I want to keep making what's going to work. And I have a reasonable model of what works and what doesn't on my channel. And so it's super tempting to be oh yeah, I'll just make stuff that works over and over. I'll just make only those videos. All of that takes so much effort that takes away time from actually painting and making stuff. And it's a big critique that my channel's received recently is that you're not a real artist. I don't see you making stuff. Where are your studio vlogs? And I'm I made those for 2 years. I made those and they never took off. They never did really well. And so I've been making what's working because it makes the difference of whether I can pay my bills or not. It just it is what it is. You know what I mean? If you want to see those videos, maybe watch them. Right. What do you want from me? You know what I mean?
They are there.
I feel if I had a vlog channel where that was just what I was doing, I could more easily say, if you want to see this type of thing, go over there and watch that. I will not be fielding any hate comments about this topic because you don't know what you're talking about. And I feel that would maybe make more sense. But anyway, yeah. How do you feel about your channel right now? How are you feeling?
I'm actually feeling great, except for the fact that the last 2 videos didn't do well. One I was expecting not to do well. What was the other one? Oh, one was an advice. What was that? What it was? I think it was about hobby advice. And I was really excited about that video. I really stand by that advice.
I liked it.
But it's not art. And I know that people, thank you. I know people are looking from me art. So that's fine. But besides that, things have been doing really well, which is really exciting. My most recent video was a night. I painted a night and the feedback has been overwhelming. Everyone is so sweet. I've gotten a lot of comments recently about people can see that I'm putting more effort into my videos, which is something that I had said that I would do at my mid-year check-in, my goals check-in.
Yeah.
And it's really, really, really validating to hear that people can see that I'm trying harder and that I'm more passionate and that like I'm putting, you know, more effort into videos and stuff. And so that's just like so amazing to hear that people can tell and that it's showing through in my videos. It's like so I just feel so like, I don't know, like warm and happy, and it's so nice to feel that validation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and your channel,
so that's really cool.
Your channel's been doing pretty well. Your best painting ever, like that thumbnail. I love that thumbnail. I think that's great. It's just like really, it's really cool. Yeah, I'm proud of you. Very happy.
Thank you. I'm really happy too. One thing that I've been trying lately is I mentioned that like my AdSense is like very like spikes and then it slowly drops until my next video and then it spikes again. So I'm working on evening that out a little bit as much as I can. And I'm doing like bonus videos every once in a while. So I'm uploading like a midweek video. Normally I have an editor who edits my videos, but these bonus videos I'm doing the editing for. So like I can like expedite it and just kind of do it a little bit faster. And they're a little bit more low effort. I plan on doing like just a little sketchbook spread here and there. Nothing like major, and that's been going well. I've been really enjoying that. I'm enjoying putting more content out. I'm excited to see how that works. I don't see it negatively affecting my channel, except for the fact that there is now more chances for videos to flop.
But there are also more chances for videos to succeed.
Exactly, and then I'll be building up that like backlog of you know, little bits of AdSense here and there. So I'm hoping that'll do well. I'm excited to see how that affects overall after a few months, like if there's any like major difference to the channel.
Yeah, so
but yeah, that's what's going on.
Something that happened to me recently was that I did like, what is that, like Vlogmas. I did a Vlogmas last year, and I posted like 3 videos a week for as many weeks as I could stay in December. And one of those videos was about art books, and that totally flopped for the first like, I don't know how many months, and then a couple of weeks ago, it took off out of nowhere, got 100,000 views in less than a week. And I think that's a pretty common phenomenon, at least for me in my videos. Like sometimes they'll just sit dead forever and then they'll just take off out of nowhere. It's not the norm necessarily, but I think by posting a little bit more often, especially if you make those bonus videos a little more evergreen, a little more search focused, that could totally change your life in like 6 months. And I've said this before and I will say it again. I think if you made like a couple of like money related videos, like business related videos, you would pop off pretty fast. That's just my 2 cents.
I feel like the money stuff, like I feel like I just don't have anything specific to say about money. So like I don't think I want to make money videos. And business videos, I've like based on the performance of my hobby, like I think people want to see art from me.
That's fair.
Like an art advice. Because I've tried making similar-ish videos and they've never done well. And like most feedback I've gotten from viewers is that they want to see art. And like I feel like, and like that's fine. Like I don't really have much to say in terms of like business, and when I do have something to say, I'll make a video, but I don't feel like I have something profound to say about it right now. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna like make a money video just to, like make a money video, because I tried. Like I filmed like I think a quarterly income report, or no, I did a yearly income report for 2021, and I filmed it and I was watching it back and I was like, oh my god, this is awful. Like this is so boring. All I do is say like, okay, so here's this number and here's this number and like that, but that was it. Like there was nothing to add to it, no point to it. There was literally nothing. Yeah. Half the numbers I couldn't disclose. So it was, I feel like when I figure out a better way to, if I have something unique to say about it or something helpful to say, then I'm definitely down to make that video. Like I'm not against talking about money.
I think there's just like a lot of value in sharing those numbers. Like it's not going to be super interesting for everybody, but like maybe illustration and like Mew tripled and like people like that, like Asia Orlando, I think made a couple videos about like stuff like that. I think it's just like really helpful in letting people know that artists can actually make money, because there is like just this persistent stigma that like we're all broke, and in some cases it's true, but in some cases it's really not, and you can totally thrive as an artist. And I feel like that's just like not a thing that a lot of people are really aware of, and so it's helpful to destigmatize. But like obviously like you don't have to take that on single-handedly if you don't want to, if you feel like you don't have anything to say. But I just like genuinely like I think that if you made a video like that, it would probably do pretty well. All I'm saying.
I mean, I think I could find a way eventually. Let me change the topic because I literally just remembered something that I need to tell you. I think I told you. I don't know. Why?
Oh my god, okay, what is it? I'm curious now.
I almost had a breakdown the other day because my uncle DM'd me on my art account from he has a wood shop thing. and he has an Instagram account for it. And he DM'd me. I had blocked all of my family members, and I did not think to block this one. He DM'd me, and he was like, hey, like, I've seen your videos, and I've been following you for a while, and I swear to God, I almost died. Like, I almost pooped my pants. I was borderline, like, I don't cry, and I was about to cry because I was like, this is just the most humiliating thing that's ever happened to me ever. And I told him that. I was like, I'm kind of embarrassed. And he's like really sweet. He was like, we talked business for a little bit. It was like fun, but there's something so awful about knowing that your family, because like I talk about embarrassing stuff on my channel. Oh, yeah. Like I talk about personal stuff and embarrassing stuff. I specifically don't go by my real name online because I don't want my name to be searchable. So no one from high school can find me. My family members can't find me. And now knowing that he follows me and watches my videos. If he's listening, I hope he's not listening, but if you're listening, that's fine. Just know that I'm so embarrassed. And I just had to tell you, Kelsey, because I literally
that's really cringy. Yeah. I had a friend from middle school like find my channel and then join my live stream and like start chatting.
Oh, that's so awkward. That's like you're put on the spot too.
Yeah, I mean, it was, whatever. I mean, I know like my grandma watches my videos because she'll like talk to me about them sometimes. And like, okay, if you know me in real life, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Exactly.
No, you don't.
Don't acknowledge it. Don't talk to me about it. Like if you're gonna do it, don't tell me. Even like my friends who I specifically told about my channel, like don't talk to me about it. Knowing that people who know me can see, like, I literally, like, filming a video is crippling. Like, it's so awkward being like, oh my God, they're gonna watch this. And, like, you put on a persona, at least a little bit. Like, I feel like this is very authentically me. But you still, like, it's just you talking to a camera, so you have to carry both ends of the conversation. So you're acting a little bit. And now people are gonna watch you do that. And it's so embarrassing.
I don't think it's that embarrassing. I guess I've gotten used to it over time. But, like, especially because I'm in control of the editing. So me, it's different for you because you don't do the editing. But if there are any bits that I'm uncomfortable with, I just cut them out. Like, I am the best version of me, I feel like, on my channel. I am the most articulate. I am the most, like, well-spoken. I'm the most confident version of me. I'm the most likable version of me. At least sometimes on my channel, I feel like, yeah, I'm, like, the smartest version of me because, like, I can just edit that to be whatever I want it to be. You know what I mean? I could, like, totally flub, like, half of the script and just go back and edit everything. Especially with tools like Descript, which, not sponsored, but, like, you'll put your video file, your audio file in it, and they'll generate a transcript, and then you can edit your video or your audio file like it's a Google Doc. And so it's literally so easy to edit out any bits that you don't like. You can like shorten the word gaps. You can remove filler words like and which I used to do a lot when I was first starting out. And I still sometimes do, but I feel like just by virtue of talking a lot to the camera, you become a far better public speaker and way like more comfortable with articulating your ideas on the fly, which I think is it's a really valuable skill.
I have gotten so much better at answering interview questions.
Yes. Oh my God.
Now that you mentioned that, I'm thinking like I really have gotten more like articulate because I still use filler words and I pause. I've had like a few instances where like a company will like they'll want to like chat, right? And they'll ask you a question and I'll be like, I don't know, what kind of question is that? And that it used to be the kind of thing where I'd be like, oh, I don't know. Now I can come up with whatever. You know what I mean? I could talk for a while. That's definitely a skill that I've picked up, especially having to carry both ends of the conversation when you're in front of a camera. You learn how to make it interesting. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh my God. Speaking of companies, I attended this like talk earlier this morning by Justin Moore, who's called the Creator Wizard. He like runs a brand agency, and I'm a member of the Partnered YouTube Discord, which is just for monetized YouTubers. And he had an event at the Discord where he answered questions. We could like, you know, do like the whole Q&A thing. And he had this really interesting answer to a couple of my questions. So I had two questions. One of my questions was like, okay, like I have my channel. I've grown enormously over the past couple of months. I have almost 85,000 subscribers now, but I have videos that are doing extremely well, like 400,000 views extremely well. And I have videos that are not doing extremely well, like 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 views, which is like, is great if you're super small. Like that sounds like unachievable numbers, but when you have enormous popular videos next to like not so popular videos, it can look very unattractive for brands, like you mentioned earlier. And in our sponsorship like kind of series, I was telling him like, hey, like this makes negotiation with brands really difficult because they're taking an average and they're lowballing me. Like, they want to pay me $500 for a video that has a well-documented 25% chance of hitting 500,000 views. And he was like, that's frustrating. Like, in his answer, he was like, you have more value to brands than just your view count. You shouldn't structure the deals around that. Like, you should be asking the brand, what does success look like? Like, what keywords do you want to rank for? These are the questions you should be asking the brand, and then be like, okay, like, if you want to rank for these 6 keywords, let's do that. Let's make one video together for the next 6 months. And I guarantee you'll be ranking in these keywords at the end of that partnership. Pay me like $2,000 a month to do that for you. And that blew my mind, kinda. That's crazy, because I feel like that's so much more advantageous for myself and the brand, because it hedges their risk. You know what I mean? Like, it minimizes their risk and maximizes their potential return on investment. So I thought that was insanely interesting. And
yeah,
just like a really cool way to like structuring that, being like, hey, like, what do you want me to make for you? Like, what are your objectives for your brand over the next like a year? How can I help you achieve that? That might not be making one-off YouTube video. That could be like a really hyper-focused, targeted partnership over the long term. So
yeah,
one of like my dream brands to work with is New Matches Academy. And I made a video about them a couple months ago. It was like self-taught curriculum video. And I've had their affiliate link in my video descriptions like the past couple months. I joined in May. And so far this month alone, I've made $600 in their affiliate program.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So like, I've been writing like this pitch email to them being like, hey, let's work together, because whatever you want to do with New Matches Academy, I feel like I could provide. They don't have a robust YouTube channel. They're not really making lots of content. So I'm trying to pitch myself as like a consultant arriving at their business and being like, hi, like, what do you want to do with New Matches Academy? Like, how do you want to grow? I feel like I could provide value and fit somewhere into your marketing strategy, because I have this proven conversion rate. I have an audience and I make great content. That's like the trifecta of marketing. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of like a continuation to, or a follow-up, I guess, to our sponsorship series. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a deal. It could be like a deal like we were talking about. It could be something really unique and creative depending on what their goals are. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I like that idea of like turning it around and being like, well, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
That's really smart.
Yeah, like, what do you want? What does success look like for you over the next like 12 months?
Yeah, that's really cool. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can see why that like blew your mind. And I feel like for you specifically, that would work really well.
Yeah, and I feel like for anybody it would work really well. You know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to, like, let's say like Copic reached out to you and you were like, hey, let's not do a normal deal, like a one-off video. Like, what keywords do you want to rank for, Copic? Like, where do you want to appear in the YouTube space? Like, how can I get you there? That could be really cool.
It's definitely like, I feel like this is I don't want to say more professional, because that makes what we normally do like not professional, but it sounds like a very like intelligent way. I don't know how to word that.
I think it's smarter, because this guy Justin, he doesn't have a huge audience. He has like, I think, under 100,000 followers, but he has made more money. He has the lowest viewership that he's like ever had over the past like 2 years, but he's making way more money than he ever was before because of like pitch deal structures like this. Like, he's pitching really unique kind of structures, and like New Matches Academy has never worked with an influencer to my knowledge. So it's going to be an uphill battle.
I think you should definitely go for it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I sent the email already, not gonna lie.
Oh, nice.
We'll see what they say, but it could be really cool. And I think it's a really interesting way to go about it, because like, yeah, the deals that we normally do with like a normal video or like a fully integrated video or like an ad spot, like whatever, hundreds and thousands of creators are doing that every single day, and it works.
Yeah.
But when you have like places like NordVPN and Surfshark VPN and all of those, like having like a pretty firm script for their ad spots, it can get a little bit tiring, and a better way to get them more brand awareness might be something more inventive and creative like this. And like, that's why they're approaching us, because we're creative, because we have really cool content.
Right.
Like, they should be cool with us doing interesting stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's frustrating when companies are like really unwilling to bend on like what you do.
Yeah, and it's like, why did you approach me in the first place?
Yeah, and also, like, I'm telling you, like, that's not gonna work because people are, like, sick of you. And they like, never listen. It's really frustrating. For me, I think it's gonna come off rude, and I don't mean it that way because we've gotten comments before where I actually sound rude. I do not mean it all to sound rude. I feel like my approach to things is much more like go with the flow. You know what I mean? Like I like to plan, I like to know what's going on, but I don't know how to like word this. Like I feel like, so you were talking about his viewership is like the lowest it's ever been, but he's making the most money. Like my goal is to make money. It's to like live off of my art.
Right,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't want to make it sound like making art is enough for me. But I feel like for like my main objective when I'm like making videos is not like money and like turnaround, like turnout. I'm focusing on like making like the video and making artwork and then the video around that and then like the people around that and like my perspective and views and like my experience. And then like after that comes the response and the money. And not to say that, like, again, money is important to me. Like, I want to make money. I want this to be my job. And for it to be my job, I need to make money. And to live, I need to make money. I don't want to, you know, perpetuate the starving artist thing here. But, like, I will say, and good props to him. But I wouldn't, like, so for that, like, that idea, like, that doesn't sound super appealing to me personally because like that's not my goal, is to like make as much money as possible off of this. Like I'm not chasing avenues that will get me the most money or the most views. Like I want to do what I want to do and I want to find the people who want to watch that. Do you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, but I think approaching your dream brand with that kind of mindset would still fit that criteria. It would still let you do that thing. You would still be able to do what you want to do.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You would get paid for it. That's the best of both worlds. I am much more of like the type A planning, like I'm going to have everything like worked out. Like I am trying to find the intersection of what will work, both in terms of like money, compensation, and growth for my audience to a certain point, and things that I'm passionate about. Like I want to find that intersection. And I get tons of comments being like, well, you're not a real artist because you're not just like making it for the art. And it's like, I'm sorry, do you know anything about art history? Like actually, like do you know anything about art history? Like Renoir, famous impressionist painter, he painted purely marketable paintings. He painted stuff that would sell. Mm-hmm. He built a career, and he's one of the most influential painters of all time. Like, that was his job. Artists throughout history have painted work for clients, for patrons. That's how some of the best artwork, the most influential artwork of all time was created, because they were supported financially by someone who was extremely wealthy. And, like, that's how art has been made. Like, you can't just make art if you can't live, if you can't eat, if you can't afford a place to live.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so you kind of have to think about the business stuff. But I think, especially now, where we've kind of left that traditional, like, patronage system in the past, and we've gone to a more, like, decentralized distribution model where we're getting our money from as creators, that has its disadvantages, but also its advantages, and we can kind of like do whatever we want and focus on the stuff that we like doing the best. So like eventually I want to outsource the negotiation part and the email part because I hate doing that shit. And I want to spend more time making art, but I also acknowledge that like the videos that I make that are not strictly art related, that are not showing me making art, are what supports my ability to spend an entire week just painting. Like I would not be able to do one or the other. I had somebody DM me and be like, hey, I watched the podcast. I love you guys. My boyfriend also watched it and was like, I think Al's more of a real artist than Kelsey. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't, it's just not important.
Right. That's like a weird thing to even...
No, like they meant it in the best way possible. Like, they were like, you know, like it was like one of my friends like watched it and then was like, hey, like what did you think about the podcast? Like they were asking their boyfriend and he was like, well, I thought this and this and this. And it's like, whatever, bro. Like it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like as long as we're both making art and like being personally fulfilled and like making it our job, like I don't give a shit like who posts what type of video. It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, I fully, because I think the other thing is like I'm not like, how do I word this? Like you do a lot more paintings, you know what I mean? Like I do a lot of like doodles in my sketchbook. My output is increased because I do less work.
It's like
do you know what I
low
mean?
effort,
so like
like
it's really easy for me.
Not to say that work isn't beautiful.
Yeah,
it is.
so
it's just like it's a different thing. It's like a different thing.
Yeah, I'm not pulling on my oil paints experience like every time and doing like a masterpiece every time. Like I do a lot of like little quick doodles for me. So like it's easy for me to have a lot of output and seem like quote unquote more of an artist than you, who puts a lot of time into like everything that you do. So I think it's also just like, I mean, we've said this before, we have very different approaches to things, and that's where the value of us having podcasts together comes from.
We make this work, and I think that's like what makes people want to watch us, because we just have very different takes. If you watch our social media takes video, like I have a totally different perspective on Instagram than you do, Al, and like some people agree with me, some people agree with you, some people like fell somewhere in the middle. Like I feel like that helps us avoid some amount of criticism too, because we're like representing both sides of the coin in some respect. Like
it's way less preachy.
Yes, it's way less preachy. It's like more of a conversation, which I think is like why people watch us. And we might not be the most popular podcast ever, but like
we're on the way.
We're on the way. Our
we're working on
plans for world domination are in full effect. Prepare yourselves.
I mean, I think I'm sure they had very good intentions. I think that's a silly comment to make. To compare us in that way. But anyways.
We had like no direction for this episode, by the way.
No. We've been like, we're just going to catch up on screen. But then we already started catching up, and then we had to like start over. So.
Yeah, we did have to start over, Like we said, this episode's just a mess. Sorry for that. Hopefully it'll get better. Question mark.
Yeah. We took a long like accidental hiatus with Kelsey moving. We pre-recorded a few episodes and then
ran out of episodes.
I think right. And then I had a really busy schedule, and I could be like in a few days, and we've taken it. Honestly, like I definitely think that the thing that we recorded before that we're not using, it was a good warm up, because I feel like I was a little rusty. I feel like I'm still a little rusty.
Yeah, same. Yeah, and I'm hoping that like the editing of this, of course, will be easier too, so that'll help. Hopefully it'll be still like, mildly entertaining just to hear us talk. Yeah. If you want just audio only versions of the episodes, guys, you can listen to us on wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. If we're not on a particular service, let us know and we can be on that, maybe.
We can fix that.
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know how things work.
We should. There's no reason we shouldn't, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, we can be everywhere.
We did get an email from an artist who was asking for some advice, and I thought we would read it on the podcast.
Yes.
So, little comment corner, question Q&A corner, question corner.
Wow, that was a great name.
Yeah, I think we're going to stick with that. Should be the name from now on.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so.
So easy to remember.
I definitely do remember it, for sure. So this artist asks, as a traditional artist with an established YouTube channel who has never been super consistent, but has published some videos in English, about 30%, and the rest in their native language, which is Italian, they want to start doing more videos in English, but they're afraid that they'll lose all their subscribers because more of them are Italian, and not many Italians know English very well. What would we do? Would we start a new channel?
I mean, okay.
I think this is tough, honestly.
So there are two ways that you can go about doing this. You can have one channel where you have both language videos, or you could have two separate channels, one for each language. You only have 1,500 subscribers. That's not very large, actually. You still have a lot of, direction that you could go. Are there really big Italian language art channels? Like, what is the cap on that market? That's what I would want to know.
Right.
That cap on that market is naturally going to be way smaller than the English cap on the market. Have you reached all of the possible Italians or Italian speakers who are interested in your topics? Maybe you're close, actually. I did a consulting call with someone who was in a similar position with like jelly roll printing. And that's a thing I never heard of, but like they've reached the cap on what's possible with that niche and they have to branch out now, basically. I would argue that you should stop posting videos in Italian. Use something like Aloud, which can give you dual track audio. So Aloud, I partnered with them a couple of months ago. They're like this pilot program being announced by Google where you can have multiple language tracks. I would reach out to them. It's Aloud, A-L-O-U-D. See if you can get in on this early service and do some beta testing for them, or even record your own dub of your own videos. And that way you can have the same video be recorded in English, but also have you speaking what you're saying as a separate audio track in Italian. You can have the best of both worlds, still retain accessibility, but be able to grow much faster. That's what I would do personally. You look at people like Jimena Reno, right? She's an Italian speaker, or it's like maybe Portuguese. I'm not sure which one. She posts videos on her channel in both languages on one, and she's grown just fine, but her videos in English, as far as I know, perform way more effectively. And like we said earlier in the episode, if brands are something that you're really passionate about working with, if you really want to make this your full-time job, having videos that perform extremely well next to videos that don't is probably going to affect the rate that you can settle on. I would advise you just go English. That's just my excuse you, Kat. That's just what I would go with personally.
I'd say if you're really dedicated to the specific following that you have, they could be like super supportive. It could be a great niche for you to fill. Like as a counter argument, there are plenty of English speakers. There might not be a lot of other speakers that are popular, and that might be a great niche if you want to.
You don't have to
that.
have a million subscribers to succeed on YouTube by a long shot.
Yeah, absolutely. So if they're like super supportive and you really don't want to lose them, they're worth hanging on to you. I think having a dual channel, like having two channels, could be super advantageous for you. I'd say objectively, not to sound like English is the most important language, but I think that is the most commonly spoken, understood language that would be like the biggest market for you. So if that's what you're going for, then I would probably suggest starting a new channel, or even just continuing with the channel that you have and switching to English. But I think having two channels where you upload the same videos, just one is dubbed in Italian and or English, would also be a really smart move. I don't see why you can't do the best of both worlds. It would be more work, but if it's something that you're passionate about, I think it would be totally like possible and worthwhile to hold on to that audience and provide that entertainment for people who might not normally get that entertainment and have nowhere else to get it. That could be a great niche for you to like continue to pursue. But overall, I do absolutely see the advantages of going with English, and I would advise you to do that if possible. But I don't think you absolutely need to start a new channel. I think you can switch. If you want to go to English, you don't need to make a new channel.
Yeah, just like go for it.
You might lose a few subscribers.
But the ones that you retain,
I've noticed that like
will give you a leg up over people who are just starting from scratch is I think the reality.
Absolutely. And I don't think it's really easy to unfollow someone on Instagram. People don't unsubscribe that often. So I don't think you're going to lose all of your subscribers. I'd say go with your gut instinct. If you're feeling like you want to switch to English, I'd say switch to English. If you're feeling like you want to continue with Italian, continue with Italian. I think they're both great options. Like all of these options are great options. I think there's benefits to both sides, but I would suggest pursuing English in whatever form you could, just because I think that's a bigger market.
Same.
If anyone else has any questions, email them to us, and we will answer either on the podcast or via email. Let us know if you don't want it read out loud. We'll keep it anonymous, but if you have questions, send them in.
You can also go to our Koji profile and submit a video to our video wall that we might feature on the podcast. We're no longer doing interviews with our audience, basically. Like, we had a couple of trial runs and just ended up not working out for a variety of reasons. But I think our best bet to better serve you guys and really provide a lot of value for you is to just hear from you any way that we can. And so submitting a short video will work super well. It'll vibe much better with our schedules and like time zone differences and stuff. And it makes such a huge difference to just make it a little bit easier for us. So yeah, we would love to hear from you via a video wall, post, or an email, or a comment, and we might get back to you.
For those video submissions, they also don't have to just be questions. If we talked about something in an episode, or you have any opinion about anything in terms of art and our business and our YouTube, send them in, and we would love to hear your perspective. We can't guarantee every video will be featured, but if it's something that we find really interesting that we want to share, we absolutely will. So it doesn't have to be a question. It can also just be your hot take, your thoughts, stuff like that.
Yeah, we would love to hear your spiciest
Yes,
takes.
absolutely.
So yeah. That is the end of our episode. I hope you liked it, and leave us a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, and that is our episode.